Hi guys, uh, here I'm basically going to talk about Cain now. So there's a new name for Cain. So basically Cain is a discoverer, and Abel along with those that were left behind when Abel died, and those that were left behind Abel's family. As Cain left home and started his new life, those ones they are hunters, they are blacks. And now Cain is actually a white, our white friends here as discoverers. It is him that started here. And so now when it happened here is that it is before he changed color. So basically here he was still black. They were all black. We were all black at the beginning. So since we were all black, it was basically this thing that uh, for us to become white, it is this thing that when we stay in icy lands, those places where there is no sun or red sun, those places where you find wolves, those kinds of things. And so it is where science also mixed it up, whereby they know that because under the sun it is whereby you change color and become black. And so science said they knew very well that it was this thing that we were actually black but not understanding how. That is why they mixed us up with the monkeys, the homophobians, and at the same time mixing it up with homophobians, knowing that they were not like monkeys and baboons, because of there are those blacks that are like monkeys and baboons. Some of them you find them under Nigerians, especially when they are black, even when they are brown. It is those kinds of things. Even other South Africans can still find it, but you find it on those kinds of things like Changanis and all those kinds of stuffs. If you get what I'm saying there. And so when it happened like that, it was this thing that they knew, like it was also always that instinct. That is why they always mixed it up with that part. But there's a video that I'll be delving into that part of science, talking about those things. And then it happened that Cain, as he left, he started. He survived because of God gave him this chance of knowing that since God is fair. So Cain actually, to him under science, it is this thing that his genes, they are not like him. To kids though they were not born, they were not those kinds of things, and it was not yet the time for the world or the universes to end. That is why he was also kept. And so when he was kept, God had better plans towards him. That is why God showed himself through those generations that were born after him, like Moses and all those kinds that were able to see. And so those kinds, since they were able to see, God was able to communicate with them during those times. And so since God was able to communicate with them during those times, it was this thing that Cain, when he left, God had a covenant of anger with him, because of God was angry with him for killing Abel. That is why the names of those that are written to go to heaven are the kinds of Abel. Abel are the good kinds, are those ones that are looked at as the sheeps, good and bad, good and evil, those kinds of stuff. So Cain is the reflection of evilness, because killing started with him from the beginning. And so when Cain left, he left, and as he left, he ended up having his own gods, because he had a covenant of anger with God. That is why all those other gods started to exist. And so when those other gods started to exist, there were those that could kill humans, and there are those that cannot kill humans. And so when it happened like that, Cain ended up having his own lifestyle of surviving. And so when Cain got his own lifestyle of surviving, God was able to communicate through Cain as Cain left Africa. Cain leaving Africa, he left Africa. As he left Africa, some of his seeds, they were left aside, they were scattered all around here, knowing that it is this thing that when you survive in life, same as when you are going to school, after tertiary, you go and market and find your new lifestyle somewhere else, starting your new life, leaving the others behind, starting your own family. It was also that thing that Cain did during that time. And so when Cain left and they started spreading like that, they started changing even their hairs, because they were black, all black, their hairs, their colors and all those kinds of stuff. They started changing during that time. And so when they all started changing during that time, it was this thing that even the Achilles hairs, it started changing in all those various explanations that you can come across. Because when you move from a hot place, same as me when I'm like this, my color when I'm in a hotter place, or yeah, in a hotter place, not a warmer place, but in those kinds of temperatures, I can see my color changing. Even when I do this, I have two colors, different colors. My face is kind of black sometimes because of I'm always in the sun. You can see it's mixed colors. But when I treat my body without putting those kinds of things, just being monitoring my complexion and all those kinds of stuff, you notice its changings and all those kinds of things. Because of now I'm exposed to a better weather, a warmer weather, not a hot weather. And then after a warm weather, it becomes a cooler weather because I'll be eating ice under the shade and all those kinds of things, keeping my temperature preserved up until it gains color. And now, for it to become that white, I have to move, go to the oceans. The oceans, when you move, because Cain, when he left, he was a discoverer. He became a discoverer as he left. And so as he left Cain, he left, and him being a discoverer, all those places like seas and all those other stuffs with its salt and all those temperatures there, because it is not hot on the water, it helps the color to change. It rusts itself sometimes. It is easier for it to have all those kinds of things, even all those other things that they are eating in life and surviving with. And so when they reach a cold place, an icy place, their hair becomes straightened, icy. You can break it because it is iced. Sometimes you can't literally break it because it was not iced for a long time, but you can break it. Even fingers, you break them. And so when you break them, you can see that that finger and that hair, it is white. And so it is adapting to that temperature there, because it is no longer having that hot weather. It is changing its own color. It is treated in a colder temperature. Even its color on the face changes. You just see it. Even the eyes, sometimes they change because of that weather around it and all those views that are around, because the eyes are adapting to a colder place. That is why they are not black. Black, same as hair and same as color. It is that thing that helps your eyes to survive under those kinds of temperatures. That is why albinos, even when they are under the sun, they experience their own temperatures in their own ways, because of that gene. It is already there, and because of the things that you are consuming, it is affecting us, and it becomes a natural thing, though it was not naturally like that. And when you get that gene from albinos, it actually also becomes a contribution to those ones that are becoming colors and all those kinds of stuff, even yellow bones that are like colors and all those kinds of things. And so when they started changing even their body sizes and all those kinds of things, for our white friends to actually have flat parts that are like rocks, it is because of they were actually sitting on rocks, always sitting on rocks, never getting comfort things. That is why even under comfort they stressed it a lot, even under beds and all those kinds of things. It was always that thing. Whenever you sit on a rock, you lose your part. Even when there are these other females that when you hit their butts or touch it too much, they lose it. Some they are real. You don't lose it. Some they fall, some they don't fall. But the reason for the fall is because of the pressure. So that one under our white friend, it was within their genes. It is Cain's seed, their ancient fathers and mothers, as they left here, the journey that they were traveling, because those things they run through our genes. Because your child, it actually has to look like you. There has to be a valid reason of not so long time ago that we have a memory that your relatives, they had big cheeks and all those kinds of things. Else we'll ask ourselves what actually happened. It is those kinds of things. And so that is how they changed, and that is how even the KDS through the weathers and all those other things. Even English, for it to form all those other languages, it was because of the surroundings, animals, and freezing also. It is what made English be English as they were talking, because they were freezing. You even see, I don't know how to prove it, but it is what I know, that they got English because they were freezing. And then that is how life went. And then when that seed actually multiplied, it is with that time where it multiplied, when exposed to the lives outside and all those other stuff that are actually roaming around us. And so when Cain left, since all those gods formed during that time, it was this thing that there were good gods and there were bad gods. And good gods during that time, when they came in, it was during that time whereby you see on planet Earth, or in this whole world, there was no evil. For evil to come, it came when Satan was put on planet Earth. And so since he was put on planet Earth, it was this thing that he actually had to roam around and bring all those other gods that were around. It is only because of that time they were not flexible enough. And so since they were not flexible enough, there were no other places to tempt or to try what they were trying. And so when Cain's seed evolved and multiplied, it is when they started showing themselves. It is during that time when Satan was angry, whereby Jesus Christ, when he came, a lot of angels, a multitude of angels fell from heaven, coming because of that part of Jesus Christ, also him not wanting to turn the stone into bread and all those kinds of things. It was because of this multiplying as it happened, the process here that was actually happening here. I don't want to lose you too much on this video. I'll cut it, but there's this other part that I actually start to delve deeper on what actually happened here when Jesus Christ actually came here, as we were actually multiplying. And as we were multiplying, it was during that time whereby we were actually experiencing a lot of things in life and still exploring.